Have you ever wondered what makes some companies just amazing places to work, while others are, well, just the opposite? The secret, a lot of the time, is in this thing called organizational behavior. And today, we're going to dive deep into it. We're going to explore the science of how people actually work together.
All right, so first things first, why should we even care about this stuff? Well, in today's business world, getting the people side of things right, it's not just some fluffy, nice-to-have skill anymore. It is absolutely critical for survival, let alone success. So let's get into why that is.
The legendary management guru Peter Drucker really hit the nail on the head with this one. In organization, it's not just the building, right? It's not the logo, it's not the handbook of rules. At its absolute core, it is a living, breathing social system. It's all about people, their relationships, and how they all connect to get things done. And wow, managing people today has never been more complex. Just think about it. We've got incredibly diverse workforces, the constant pressure of a global market, not to mention technology just disrupting everything all the time. On top of all that, you have to deliver amazing customer service and create a genuinely positive place where people can actually do their best work. Every single one of these things, it's a human challenge at its heart.
Okay, so to even begin to navigate all of this complexity, we need a framework. So let's get down to the basics and really define what we're talking about when we say organization and organizational behavior.
So what even is an organization? A great way to think about it is like a sports team. I mean, it's a social group, right? They have a super clear goal, win the game. It's also deliberately structured. You've got different positions, specific plays, and it's connected to the outside world, the league, the fans, the other teams. But what's the most important part? What makes it all click? It's the people. It's how they communicate, trust each other, and work together. And that leads us right into organizational behavior, or OB for short. I love this analogy. Think of it as the user manual for the workplace. It's the actual field of study that looks at how individuals and groups behave inside these organizations. And the whole point, the so what of all this, is to take that knowledge and actually use it to make the organization better. More effective, sure, but also just a better place to work. Now, this is really cool. OB doesn't just look at the workplace as one big, messy thing. It breaks it down into 3 distinct levels. First, you have the individual level. What motivates one person? What are their attitudes? Then you zoom out to the group level. How do teams work together? Or how do they fall apart? And finally, you zoom out all the way to the organization itself. How does the overall company culture, the structure, affect everybody inside it? And to really understand these 3 levels, OB borrows a ton from psychology. Psychology gives us the theories. You can think of them as different lenses that help us see the why behind what people do at work. So that leads us to the big question, right? What is actually driving our behavior at work? Whether we're in an office, on a factory floor, or stuck on another video call, what's making us do what we do? Is it a conscious choice, or are we just kind of reacting to everything around us? So one of the first attempts to answer this comes from that classic experiment with Pavlov's dogs. You've probably heard this story. Step 1, a dog sees meat, it salivates. That's a natural, unconditioned response. Step 2, you ring a bell every single time you bring out the meat. You do this over and over. And then step 3, eventually the dog hears the bell and starts salivating, even with no meat in sight. That's a conditioned response. And this is the absolute core of what's called the behavioral framework, the idea that a lot of our behavior is just a learned response to some external stimulus. But of course, that's not the whole picture, is it? A later idea, the cognitive framework, comes along and says, hang on a second. While the behavioral framework sees us as basically just reacting to things, like Pavlov's dog, the cognitive framework argues that we have a brain for a reason. We think, and then we act. It's all about conscious choice. It's about our expectations, our beliefs. So you have this really clear split. Are we just reacting, or are we thinking and then acting? Okay, so we've got these 2 big ideas about behavior, but how does any of this actually apply in the real world? Like, how does a manager use this? Well, this is where we get into 5 pretty distinct models of management that have really evolved over the last century or so. And to really get the first one, we have to go way back to the Industrial Revolution. The sociologist Max Weber had this incredible phrase for bureaucracy. He called it an iron cage, this super rigid system that traps people where the only thing that matters is efficiency and rules. This whole idea really sets the stage for the very first, most basic style of management. And what you see here isn't just a timeline, it's really an evolution in thinking. It all starts back in the Industrial Revolution with that autocratic model, which comes right out of that iron cage mindset, all about control and efficiency. But then, as time goes on, our understanding of what actually motivates people starts to change, and you see this amazing shift, moving away from pure control and towards collaboration. We go through the custodial model, then the supportive, then collegial, until we finally land on the much more modern approach we see today, the systems model.
Okay, this table really lays out that whole journey perfectly, so let's walk through it. First up, you've got the autocratic model. The foundation here is just power. The boss has it, you don't. And the result they're looking for? Simple obedience. You do what you're told, no questions asked. Think of that old school factory floor. Then, things evolve a bit to the custodial model. The basis here shifts to money, to economic resources. The company figures, hey, if we give people good pay and benefits, they'll feel secure and stay. And it works, but it also creates dependence on the company. This is what people call the golden handcuffs. Now, this next one is a huge leap, the supportive model. The focus isn't on power or money anymore, it's on leadership. A manager's job is to actually support their people. And what happens? You get better job performance because people feel seen and valued. From there, we get the collegial model, which builds on that idea. This is all about teamwork. The manager acts more like a coach, and employees are treated like partners or colleagues. And in that kind of setup, you don't need to micromanage. People develop self-discipline. And that brings us to today with the systems model. The basis for this one is trust and true partnership. It recognizes that people are complex and want to contribute. The goal is to create a community, a sense of psychological ownership. And the result you get from that is the holy grail, genuine self-motivation. So, after this whole journey from pure control to partnership, where does that leave us? What's the big takeaway? What are we trying to achieve by applying all these ideas from organizational behavior today?
Really, the ultimate goal, especially when you're looking at that modern systems model, is to find that win-win situation. It's about building a workplace where the company's success doesn't come at the expense of its people, and the people's well-being doesn't come at the expense of the company. It's a true partnership where an employee's need to grow and feel fulfilled is met at the same time the organization is hitting its goals.
And this all leaves us with one last big question to think about. We've watched management evolve from control to partnership. But now, with things like automation and AI completely reshaping the very nature of our jobs, what's next? What will that sixth model on the chart look like? That is the massive question that every leader, and really every one of us in the workforce, is facing right now. Thanks for digging into this with me.